Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
Let's go roota.com. Crazy, crazy world in silver and the fight for our freedom. You're at the right place if you want to survive this crazy change. I've been talking about this for this kind of transition since 1999, maybe. That's when I started writing for Gata. 2000 area is when Bill Murphy published my first rant. It was a rant at the U.S. government, and both Bill Murphy of the Gata, Gold Antitrust Action Committee, and Jim Sinclair of JM Mindset published the letter I wrote, and I signed it anonymously. It was from a concerned citizen, and it was to the head of the SEC. And I don't remember. I can probably go back and find it. The Gata has great archives, and Bill Murphy at Metropole Cafe has great archives there. Just do a search for my name. It goes way back. Yeah, it's been a very long time. And then in 2007, when the Fed published the Road to Roota documents, my mind was blown, and the entire year I was working on the Road to Roota theory, which is researching, are there good guys behind the scenes? I mean, at the time, everybody thought I was crazy. They kicked me out of Gata, basically, because I was saying there's massive amounts of gold, there's good guys behind the scenes. Alan Greenspan was deliberately trying to destroy the economic system to return us to a gold standard. And they thought I was nuts and crazy, and then all of a sudden, 20 years later, we got things like Q and the good guys and the quantum financial system and all these programs. Like, some of them are full of crap, some are actual real things. But I've always stuck to the Road to Roota theory. There are good guys behind the scenes in the USA trying to get us back to where we should be. And Trump is leading that charge right now. It's not all Trump, by the way. These good guys behind the scenes they control it all now. They took over control the first time Trump got elected. So Trump had started, and now he knows he's got 4 years to finish this game. So that's why he's working so fast. There's so much to do. Ultimately, the most important thing he needs to do is to destroy the banking cabal, destroy the unbacked fiat monetary system, destroy the $3 quadrillion derivative bubble, and that will destroy everything. If you don't have it in your hands, you're not going to own it. I don't care how much you like your custodian of your metal. If you're keeping metal in a vault in Switzerland, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. The game has changed. The game has changed from everything we've known before. If you don't personally have full control and full possession of your assets, they will go away. There won't be any banks. If you put your cryptos or your silver and gold or cash back into a bank vault, into a safe deposit box, it will be gone. The first thing the guards of the metal depositories are going to do is take the metal to save their own families. This is not a little thing that's going to happen. Everybody's going to get washed away in something that they've been putting off for a very long time. The whole reason this system got so bad is they kept kicking the can down the road. It does not get better if you kick it farther down the road. Oh, we just need time. Trump needs time to restart us. That's why he's rigging the markets. So he needs time to get everything rebooted and restart the economic machine of America. Bullshit. Everybody's tried to do it in over 100 years. Everybody's tried to do it with good intentions or bad intentions. It is not salvageable. It cannot be salvaged. It has to be destroyed. Unbacked fiat, as Nostradamus said, imitations of gold and silver will be cast into the lake. Imitations of gold and silver. That's Nostradamus, whenever, hundreds of years ago, was writing those things. That's what's going to happen. What are imitations of gold and silver? They're priced right here. They're priced at $32.52 on the COMEX. What is the COMEX? Futures and options. Remember Rustin Benham saying, the structure of the market was able to tamp down the price of silver at $30. What happened this time? What's wrong with the structure of the market? He was talking about the huge derivative banks using futures and options to short, naked short. They have unlimited amount ability to short. If you're the U.S. government, you don't care if you lose a couple $1 trillion. We found that out. It doesn't matter because you create the money out of thin air. Banks create the money out of thin air. Vast majority of quote money out there is lent into existence by the banks. Yeah, the Fed does some. Yeah, the U.S. does some, but it's the banks. They don't have the million. When you buy a $1 million house and the bank writes a check, or who you're buying it for, the check for the $1 million, they only have 100,000 of it. Maybe actually, if you count derivatives, they probably have 100 of it. But that's the reality of where we are. That newly created $900,000 is new money. That's how banks. The best way to rob a bank is to own one. You get to create your own money. The money multiplier effect. And they did it to the next bank. And they did, it's true. When the bank creates this money out of thin air that wasn't there before, they give it to another bank who owned the house before, right? Now that bank has $1 million and they can leverage that up to what? 900 million or 90 million. 10 to 1. It's insane, I know. Anyway, let's talk silver. I want to talk the U.S. Mint. The U.S. Mint is coming into the spotlight. Bright spotlight. This has been one of my key focuses for the last 15 years. 15 years of fighting the U.S. Mint. Actually, it's been 25 years for the fight of the U.S. Mint. 25 years fighting the U.S. Mint because they're not doing what they're legally required to do, which is create silver eagles to meet demand. Doesn't matter how many are demanded. It is the job, it is the requirement, the legal requirement of the U.S. Mint to create enough silver eagles to meet demand, and they have been failing and failing and failing and failing purposefully. They're one of the largest, quote, derivative holders of silver. They don't use derivatives in gold, and they even, they just came out with their quarterly report. You want to see it? You want to see what the Mint made? I keep track of it. The Mint hedge book. It's right here. They lost $73 million on hedges in fiscal year 2024. $73 million. You might say, oh my God, how did that happen? They should have lost a lot more. The price of silver rose by $5 on average in fiscal year 2024. That's what hedging does. If you're properly hedging, they should have lost double that because it zeroes out your book. So they ended up making a ton of money on silver because silver rose $5.11 on average per ounce, but they lost $2.72 per ounce on the hedge book. If you're going to hedge, you do it correctly so it's no gain. It is illegal for the U.S. Mint to make money on creating silver eagles. It's illegal. The person that is in charge of the U.S. Mint is a woman named Ventris Gibson. What did she do before she was at the Mint? She was the DEI goddess. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Goddess of Washington. She was put at the head of the Mint basically to destroy the Mint. And you guys are going to just be so pissed off when I show you this. I don't know if I should show you. You're going to storm the gates of the castle. Look at the last coin they minted, they put for sale right before Trump got inaugurated. The United States Capitol Police and those who protected the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, bronze medal. Are you fucking kidding me? This is the United States Mint. Trump, you need to shut this shit down. Recall all these coins. Make it illegal to own them. At a very minimum, take these coins off the U.S. Mint website. They are offering them for sale. Bronze. And listen to what they say. This is the leftist government held true patriots in jail, over 1,000 of them, in jail for 4 years. Trump just got them out. Description. Every day, The United States Capitol Police protects the U.S. Capitol, members of Congress, staff, journalists, and the visiting public. On January 6, 2021, a mob of insurrectionists forced its way into the U.S. Capitol building and congressional office buildings, engaged in acts of vandalism and looting, and violently attacked Capitol Police officers. These law enforcement heroes, along with responding officers from the D.C. Metro Police, exemplified patriotism and commitment as they risked their lives in service to our country. That is the biggest crock of shit you will ever read. This is the final straw for Ventris Gibson. Ventris Gibson. You want to see her? Let's go to the annual reports. Ventris Gibson, I think she's still, I don't think Trump has appointed someone. She might be in prison by now. I don't know. Want to see her? Where's that criminal? There she is. What a criminal. She couldn't make a silver eagle if it came out her butt. By the way, have you gone to the U.S. Mint and checked out their bullion sales for January of 2025? Do you know how many they listed? 0. 00. Right here, American Eagles. Sales total by month. First, read this. All sales total by month are updated every weekday by 5 p.m. Eastern time. So they've had, 5? They should have been posted 5 times, right? In 2025. Look at this. It hasn't even started in 2025. There is no 2025. I know there are 2025 coins that are circulating. Why aren't they telling us? I called the mint yesterday. Of course, when you call the mint, I got lucky when the guy Jack Surman called me back. But you call the mint and you'll get these people who don't know their butt from a hole in the ground. Sorry for my vulgarity this morning. And I'm like, why aren't you guys posting bullion sales? Oh, I don't know. I'll send it up the chain to my supervisor. Give me a break. You guys remember what Jack Surman, the head, the guy in charge of Silver Eagle sales, go to roota.com and go to, here we go, right down here. You scroll down the page and you will see 3-part interview with Jack Surman. I'm going to play you the first part of the last section. This is part 3. And I broke up the conversation. I commented. So you'll hear me commenting, and then you'll hear our real discussion. Listen to it. This is at the end of the interview when I was saying we'd already gone through 5 illegal things that the U.S. Mint was doing. And he was pissed because he'd been in that program his whole life. But he can't turn in his boss. Ventris Gibson. Listen to this. Hey guys, this is Bix Weir, roota.com with part 3 of my discussion about the U.S. Mint's Silver Eagle conspiracy. Again, I am talking with the head of Silver Eagle sales at the U.S. Mint, Jack Surman. Jack is a great guy. That's my overall take. He's a salesman. He is not fully aware of why things are going on, but he does see that they are operating in many ways that violate the law. So in the last part, we're going to talk about the Silver Eagle shortage, why the premiums are so high, who's making the money, capacity for Silver Eagle production. He didn't know about the 2021 hedge book losses. He was very surprised at that, and I talked about, yes, it is in the annual report. So it's not like they can hide from that one. The redesign of the Eagle and then the illegal profit they are making from the Silver Eagle program. It is not by law supposed to have any profit attached to it. So we go through it all. I will chime in every once in a while, but here it is, part 3.
Like, I mean, you're right. I mean, our primary dealers, they cry the blues because they want more coins. But at the same time, they sort of wink and a nod back at me and say, what can we tell you, Jack? I mean, when you go on allocation, which we don't like to do from a policy standpoint. But when the mint goes on allocation, all these primary dealers and you, for example, you make a hell of a lot more when you sell these things.
Right.
Because when we're not allocation, these primary dealers are clubbing each other to make a nickel an ounce delivered.
Right.
There's no money in it.
Yeah. So they're not going to pressure you to do more. They're like, hey, we got to work less and make more money. I'll take that.
But now with allocation, yeah, it's fewer coins. They're making a ton of money, and unfortunately, it's really kind of the investor that ends up. Consumer has to pay more for them. But if you can get $8 or $9 on the bid, I don't know. Maybe it's relative. I mean, that's the same argument you make with gold bars versus bullion coins.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to pay maybe 4% over spot for a bullion coin, where I can get a Credit Suisse bar for spot. But when you go to sell the bullion coin back to a dealer, he's going to give you spot plus 1 to 2%.
Yeah.
A bullion bar, they're just going to give you basically, they're going to give you some premium over amount.
Yeah.
But it's all kind of relative. You pay more on the ask side, but if that premium is high on the ask side, you should theoretically get more on the bid. But I think you're right. No. Nobody's selling it back. So all anybody feels right now is the pain of having to pay $15.
Right. Yeah.
Where it should be, if we sell them at let's say $3, and we're selling all that we can, and we're meeting market demand, then usually people would only pay a $1 to $2 premium. Right. Over. And that's typically what it used to be. So now when we see these $15 premiums, like you say, yeah, I mean, I can't believe there hasn't been more congressional scrutiny. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I just finished working on a congressional letter the other day.
I would like to note that, Alex Mooney, Mooney of West Virginia, congressman, did outline and write on August 25th, 2022, last year, Janet Yellen and Ventris Gibson, these are the two heads it's the head of Treasury, and Ventris Gibson, the director of the Mint, who works for Janet Yellen, and he flat out laid some things, how they're breaking the law. It sounds like Jack had just worked on his portion of that, but it is breaking the law if they don't meet coins to meet demand. Now, I don't think they've responded to this, and there's a few things I would add to what Congressman Mooney wrote. But at the same time, let's get some answers from this before we. But let's get some answers for this. It's been way too long. They should have this at the top of their head. They're being accused of breaking the law, and they need to explain it to we the people. So let's keep going.
Republican, of course, asking the very questions you're asking.
Right. I think I did see that letter.
And he's right. I mean, and you're right. I mean, it really comes down to management.
Right.
And I'm not going to say, and how effectively you're managing the program.
And do you think it's incompetence of management, or is there another agenda they have? Oh, you don't have to answer that question.
You're not going to bait me into that. Answering that. I don't. I don't know if there's another agenda. All I see is the pressure that they're under to try and make all these different coin programs, numismatic and bullion, all in the same calendar year. They only have a finite number of blanks.
Anyway, he goes on and on. Oh my God, make sure you guys listen to the 3-part interview. Great guy. I think he's gone. I think they let him go. He was in the 70s. The only reason he was there is because they had nobody who had the relationships to do his job. Basically, he's dealing with the 20 or so direct buyers of Silver Eagles, the large distributors who are out there buying the Eagles from the Mint. And by the way, the Mint is marking up the Eagles. They are making a profit on the Eagles, and their hedge book is completely out of control. I think it's run by HSBC still, which is very scary. Anyway, go listen to that. Just go to roota.com, scroll down. you're going to have to listen to the first one, the Wacky Woo Show with JC, but that's a great one. Go down, scroll down, you'll find it. All right, what's going on with silver right now? Like I said, they tried to tamp it down in 2021, I think it was, to get it below the $30 price. It was imperative. The head of the CFTC said so, and they used the derivative market to do that. It is exactly what they do, how they rig the market. He called it, it's the structure of the market that was able to tamp down the price from $30. Well, that is illegal under commodity law, obviously. It is illegal to use futures and options to control the price of anything. And I mean, over 100 billion ounces are traded every year. As a matter of fact, let's look at the volume. What was the volume the other day when they had to slam down silver? Right here, volume was 90 million, 90 million contracts, which is 450 million ounces of electronic derivatives dumped on the market on February 3rd. This is the fraud we live in. This is the fraud that's going to break very soon. Interesting to see. This is a non-delivery month. Next month is a delivery month. We are only like, 3 days into the deliveries, and already there's 2,400 contracts that have been delivered in silver, which is 12 million ounces. That's big for a non-delivery month. That's huge. And it's already ahead of all of January. And people are buying contracts and standing for delivery immediately. That's what you see down here. So open interest is still right here, about 5 million ounces, but people are literally buying contracts, taking delivery, buying contracts, taking delivery. Next month, right now, currently there's 121,000 contracts open. According to Jeffrey Christian, everything rolls over, so we'll see how many of those roll over. I think it's going to be a monster month if we get to next month. And I think that, whether or not, again, look at exchange for physical. That's a whopper right here. This is 7,500,000 ounces stood for delivery by going through London, exchange for physical. Check out Harvey Organ blog for that. It's happening in silver. I know the price doesn't look like it's doing much, but imagine silver breaking over $50. How many crypto people will dump their cryptos and run, not walk, in to try to get physical silver in their own possession? There won't be any. Cliff High calls it will become unobtainium. You can't obtain it at any price. That's where we're headed, I believe, this year. The Future Forecasting Group sees a break in the markets, on all the exchanges, in the stock market, the bond market. They see something huge coming in the spring. Huge, as in markets stop working. That's exactly what they would see if we did have a derivative meltdown. Any of the large, too big to fail banks go. I think all of them will go. So anything you don't have in your possession, you're that's what you get. And then they're going to try to sort out, how do we move forward? If you read The Great Taking, it will be whoever controls Seed and Company is going to steal all the assets. Or 95, 98% of everything, your car, your mortgage, your stocks, your bonds, everything is held in the name of Seed and Company behind the scenes. It's a legal construct. At the end of the day, if you are trying to screw the entire globe of their assets, legal constructs go out the window. At the end of the day, you got to have military to protect your legal system. And if you don't, then you are at the end of a gun. So whoever's in charge of Seed and Company, where everything is registered, and there is supposedly, they did an analysis in the 70s that U.S. Congress did. They wouldn't tell us what it was, but it was a person. A lot of people think it was the Queen of England or one of the royalties that actually owned all these assets legally. But at the end of the day, we've been lied to. And when you lie to the entire population of the planet, what are we at? 7-8 billion people now? Who knows? All the census numbers are off anyway. If you lie to the massive part of the planet that you don't own your assets, that whole planet will turn their eyes on you and say, how did you steal my assets? There'll be a lot of anger towards the banks. Banks will not survive this at all, which means XRP will not survive this. I've been trying to help people with there, but nobody can like runs that forward. XRP will not be taking the place of Swift. It just the whole entire concept that a bunch of schmoes will be in charge of the asset transfers of the world is just ridiculous. I mean, who's in charge now? The U.S. government and the SWIFT system, the BIS. You think they're going to give up control? It's not some great technology invented by the guys who ran XRP, who have made, oh my God, I heard it's 45 billion in Ripple's made 45 billion in their ICO, really. Morons of XRP thinking, oh, this is going to be great. We'll be in charge. XRP people will be in charge of the world's financial transfers. Sorry. They won't even be around. Banks won't even be around. All right. Moving on. So we do have this will probably be the largest non-delivery month deliveries. So the COMEX has like 4 or 5 delivery months. Next month, March will be a delivery month. The COMEX is not exactly the most important place to see what's going on. They stopped that when they introduced exchange for physical about 3 or 4 years ago. All that delivery went to London because you don't know who picks up the London stuff. But the exchange for physicals are over 1 billion ounces every year. It was 1.3 billion last year. This year, I don't think we'll get through the year. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. We're going to get India numbers in 10 days for, quote, January deliveries. But I think, about half of that was ordered when they slammed the price right after Christmas. So I think we're going to see 50 million ounces be imported into India, and that's a monster. And then every single day that the price of silver was below the moving averages, which was from December 17th through January 30th, is India buying as much as they can. They know this game's almost over. Russia knows this game's almost over. China knows this game's almost over. Everybody knows this game's almost over if you've done any work at all studying the derivative market. Everybody knows. That's part of why the U.S. Mint isn't reporting Silver Eagle sales at the moment. They know the game is over. I don't even think Ventris Gibson is in charge anymore. But I haven't heard who. I think David Ryder should go back. David Ryder, the ex chairman, it's not chairman, what's the mint director from the 90s, and then Trump had him in last time. He was changing. He was getting ready to go to a digital gold and silver standard where you use physical metal. The physical coin gets an identifier on it, and you can spend it wherever you want on your app. It's all ready to go. It's been ready to go for at least since David Ryder was in the second time. So that was the Trump administration, because they had cryptos and they had a way to track, to turn. And oh, by the way, XRP, Ethereum, even parts of Theta, all the DeFi in the world is owned. The patent is owned by Reggie Milton. I mean, let's just be very clear. XRP, and it came out long before XRP. Reggie Milton describes in his patent exactly what XRP does, the Swift system takeover. It's all there. I don't know why anybody has why the XRP people cry about it. I don't understand. Anyway, so there is going to be a spotlight. Now, very few people were talking about this. I've been screaming about it for many years. There's going to be a spotlight on the U.S. Mint. The U.S. Mint is so important going forward. That's when Ventris Gibson came in, and we went from David Ryder making 33 million Silver Eagles a year to Ventris Gibson making 16, and telling everybody, let's make as few Silver Eagles as possible. As few as we can get away with, is what she was told by Janet Yellen, who told Jack Surman, the head of sales at the U.S. Mint, the head of bulk bullion sales at the U.S. Mint. He was told, sell as few possible, as few as you can get away with. And they dropped it from 33 down to 16 million ounces It was vile. That's completely illegal. And listen to my discussion with Jack Surman. It's exactly what he said happened. All right, so I think the U.S. Mint is going to come into focus for everybody, and that's good. They've been making silver and gold eagles behind the scenes and silver and gold money behind the scenes for a very long time, using metal for gold out of the Grand Canyon. There are operations going on absolutely to monetize the gold found in the Grand Canyon in the early 1900s. That's the whole reason for the Federal Reserve. That's the whole reason we got in this mess. On the planet, there was about 300 million ounces of gold back in 1900, and then they found billions and billions of ounces, and then even more billions in places we were not allowed to talk about that were already stored within secret treasure caves in the Grand Canyon. When that comes out, it's watch the movie, all the Wizard of Oz offshoots, Tin Man, and the Oz the Great and Powerful. They're all the same. They all have these secret chambers. Oh, we found all this gold, but they can't be released until we free the people. It's true. But we don't even have to go down that path. There's billions and billions of ounces of gold in placer gold, the little specks of gold, in the banks of the Colorado River. There was a huge gold rush in the 1915 to about 1925. Everybody and their mother was running, trying to get to the Grand Canyon, which is very hard to get to, and trying to get the gold out. They could get the gold out, but it was expensive because you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no roads into the Grand Canyon back then. There wasn't even rail into Grand Canyon until later. So they were trying to do it, but then don't forget, they fixed the price of gold at $20. And oh, by the way, the Federal Reserve came in and expenses started going through the roof. So it wasn't economical to mine the placer gold out of the Grand Canyon. And Woodrow Wilson signed the Federal Reserve Act in the same breath, put the Grand Canyon and up and down the Colorado River into national parks. And you can't take a pebble out of there. Saving it for the future. Adding to the nest, as David Ryder was saying. Anyway, so like I said, listen for the clues about a return to the U.S. Mint. Who's going to take over the mint? How the mint's going to be in charge of our money, the production of money, according to the Constitution. And here's just the start of it. Our friend Elon Musk, listen to what they say about mismanagement at the U.S. Mint.
SNAP overpayments through USDA and the states, you name it. Just even my back to work report, the out of the office that we've talked so much about. Yes. And on day one, the president came in and said, hey, everybody back to work. Yeah. I don't think most Americans understand that only 6% of our federal workforce shows up to work in the office every single day. Only 6%.
Yes, and absolutely. It's truly insane. In fact, and one of the most insane things I've seen was that I was speaking with hopefully our soon-to-be Attorney General Pam Bondi, and she was telling me that the U.S. engraving is actually, I guess, which used to be the U.S. Mint, which is actually a building that is an historic building. Actually, a beautiful building it's here in D.C. and the windows are all broken and has turned into a homeless encampment. That means like this. No one comes to work to such a degree that this beautiful building has all the windows broken and is turned into a homeless encampment in downtown D.C. That's how absurd it is. It's beyond belief.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning, my friends. So yes. Hopefully Ventris Gibson will go out with a big bang and everybody can see the fraud and abuse. Go to roota.com, listen to the 3-part interview with Jack Surman, head of Silver Eagle sales for the U.S. Mint, or at least he was. I hope he's still there, and I think he will be declared a hero, hopefully. But that's what you never know when you call customer service. They might transfer you up the line, and he was transferred to me because they couldn't answer any of my questions, and Jack answered them all. Basically saying the U.S. Mint is breaking the law over and over and over. Basically saying, help me, Bix, help me, which I did. Anyway, again, there's no Silver Eagle sales reported on the bullion sales site when they're supposed to report it. There's plenty of reasons to kick Ventris Gibson out, but there's 2 of them. One being she's not making any Silver Eagles, and number 2 is that, by the way, the U.S. Mint building, nobody goes to work. Why not in D.C.? sell the building or, staff it with real people. There's so much fraud, waste, and abuse. It's ridiculous. And you can read the annual report from the U.S. Mint. There she is, Ventris Gibson. Do I blame Ventris Gibson? No. She's a yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, people from the people above her. Janet Yellen runs that, well, kind of. Janet Yellen is her boss, theoretically. But the reality is Janet Yellen is run by the deep state behind her. So we will see where this all goes. Again, here's what happened when Ventris Gibson got in the mix. In 2021, 34 million, fiscal year 2021, 34 million ounces were made. These are the 2 years. That's fiscal. This is the year. So this is the actual, you'll see it on the date on the coin, because the fiscal year for the U.S. ends at the end of September. So this is David Ryder got in, and he was doing a great job. And he looked 30 million, and then 2021, 28 million, and that was just half of the year for him. And then they booted him, brought in Ventris Gibson. It dropped down to 15.9 million, 2022, and then 24 million. That's when I did my interview with Jack Surman, and all of a sudden it jumped by 10 million. But this is ridiculous. Silver Eagles are still today on allocation, meaning they're not selling to meet demand. And oh, by the way, did you see the hedge book? Whoever's running the hedge book, I think it's HSBC, for the U.S. Mint, it's probably the largest hedge book on the planet, lost 73 million when it should have lost 150 million because the price, maybe not 100, maybe 130. The idea of hedging is so that you don't lose or gain money on the physical silver that you buy. It sits in inventory for a while and then you sell it. You should come at least close to breaking even. You're not there to make money or lose money. In 2021, when the head of silver, or the head of the CFTC, Rustin Benham, said we had to tamp down the price of silver, part of that was the U.S. Mint not buying back its silver hedges. Silver lost $1.18 per ounce that fiscal year of 2021. So the hedge book should have made a substantial amount of money. Instead, they kept going short and short and short and didn't cover their hedges, so they lost an extra $3.23 per coin, which was a $111 million loss on the hedge book in a year where the price of silver went down. That's exactly the opposite of what should happen, unless you're helping the market riggers that Rustin Benham was talking about. The structure of the market was able to tamp down the price of silver. The U.S. Mint could not close out their silver shorts because it would have changed the price of silver. I think the U.S. Mint needs to get out of the silver hedging business. I think we will have direct coinage, you bring your silverware, whatever, into the U.S. Mint, and they'll figure out how much silver's in it and stamp you out a coin. They call it seigniorage. I forgot the name for it. Like they used to do. You bring in your silver and your gold, they'll give you a close to equivalent amount, minus a little fee for, stamping it and all that. And you go back to your gold mine. Hey, all right, I got a gold coin because I mined an ounce of gold. Not exactly like that, but something like that's what used to happen. And by the way, there's just billions and billions of ounces of gold. The guys like Jeffrey Christian will tell you that there's, what does he tell you? There's 200,000 tons that's ever been mined, or 220,000 tons that's ever been mined of gold in the world. It's the biggest crock of shit you could ever imagine. Read Peggy and Sterling Seagrave's book, Gold Warriors, about the Yamashita's gold in the Philippines, and you'll get the idea. But this is a game. It's the most powerful game. It's the most important game on the planet. The control of the monetary system there's nothing bigger in the way our society is structured. I think that will be different in the future, especially with like replicators. When replicators come around, and you know they're coming. I mean, we can 3D print a house now. I've seen it. Look it up on YouTube. 3D printing a house. They put all this cement in this machine, and it goes around. It makes walls and all this shit. At some point, as technology increases, as AI takes out every job on the planet, we're going to have replicators, which is replicators like Star Wars. They take energy, they create molecules. We know how the molecules put together to make a cheeseburger, and voila, you got a cheeseburger, or a piece of clothing, or they can 3D model like guns right now. You can make a gun with a 3D printer. I don't know what to tell you. That's the evolution of technology is crazy. So many things in Star Trek, so many things have come true. Like, remember the not camcorder, the recording device that they talk. Scott, this is Captain Kirk to Bridge. Remember that little thing? Back when that came out, I think it was the 70s. Everyone said, "Oh, that's so ridiculous. That'll never happen." We do it now. And things have, because of the way technology works, ever increasing. 5 years from now, we're not going to recognize what life is on the planet if we survive. But this is a major transition out of the unbacked fiat monetary system into a new system. A lot of people will be completely out of work, which is good and bad. Do I believe in like a basic income for everybody? Sure, why not? Because we were put in this 100-year structure, maybe 200. I'd say 100 years. It really went sideways in the early 1900s. And then the Federal Reserve came around and everything was a cover-up monetarily. We are breaking out of that. So I believe in universal basic income if the system crashes, when the system crashes. And we can't get rid of that bullshit, all the debt, everything, unless we destroy the system. And the way to do that is through the derivative market. The weapon of mass financial destruction, as Warren Buffett calls it. And that's exactly what it is. And that was what it was created for. That was Alan Greenspan screaming, "You cannot regulate derivatives. Don't you dare regulate derivatives," in the late 1990s. Why? Because he knew the bubble would blow so big, it would take out everything, and we'd go back to a gold standard. That's the road to roota theory. That's what came out of the Fed Boston. That's what they were screaming at you. Nobody was listening. They're listening now, as we talk about what are we going to do next. And then cryptos came around, very excited about the crypto market. Those who can hold on, hodl through the insanity of market manipulation and rigging and blah, 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 are going to be very happy that they held on to certain cryptos, obviously. And if you understand cryptos, good on you. Trump is the number one crypto rigger. I wouldn't say number one. I mean, Mt. Gox was a rigged job by the banksters. 2017, it was already admitted that Trump and the head guy, Chris Giancarlo at the CFTC, and a bunch of guys got together and said, no, we have to introduce derivatives and ETFs and futures and options to cryptos, or it's just going to keep going up. And they crashed the crypto market, destroying a lot of people I know. I didn't know what was going on at the time, but in retrospect, it's pretty obvious. They do the same thing. The same thing. FTX was the same thing they did to Mt. Gox. You get people overexcited, they leverage it up, and then poof, you slam the hammer down. That's how you stop the free markets in the United States of America. And Trump knows absolutely about that. He's been probably the best at it. Ultimately, there's a lot of things he wanted to do, and you can't do it if the unbacked fiat system is destroyed. So he's doing it all now, and I do think we're going to see the destruction, those destruction days back, let's just say, second quarter. Maybe starting the first quarter, could start today. But then again, it could be instantly, bang, everything shuts off. I think that's more of the, we're not going to see a 2008. We were, Kanjorski, Senator Kanjorski saying in 2008 on September 11th, he didn't say September 11th. He said 3 days before this, but it was September 11th, 2008 he was talking about. We were hours away from the destruction of the global fiat monetary system. Hours away. So it will happen in a moment. And everything will just freeze up. You'll try to run to your bank. Your banks won't even be open. You'll try to get it onto your account and you use your credit card. They won't work. That's where we're headed, and we're headed there very fast. Get your physical silver in your own possession. If you have gold, go to your local coin shop, swap it for silver ounces. If you love gold, that's what you do. You swap it for 80 ounces of silver or whatever you can get for it. Wait for the crash, wait for free markets to start again, then swap your silver back for gold, and you're going to go from 1 ounce of gold to 80 ounces of gold when gold and silver go 1-to-1, and they will, at least 1-to-1. Silver's so much more important than gold, and there's so much more gold than there is silver that people don't know about. That's the secret side of gold. You might say, well, why has gold gone up so much in the last few years, Jake? Well, who owns the gold? Who has possession of the gold right now? It's the bankers. People who say, I want to go back to a gold standard, forget that the bankers own all the gold. We will go to a gold and silver standard because the United States government has secured massive amounts of gold in California at Chocolate Mountain. And I mean, Dianne Feinstein locked up 41% of California in a national wildlife preserve. Massive. That's some of the richest gold fields in the world, not to mention the Grand Canyon. Gold and silver standard. We won't have as much silver. That's what I'm saying. It'll probably be the ultimate ratio. It will cross 1-to-1, maybe go 1-to-10, where 1 ounce of silver buys you 10 ounces of gold when it's revealed that we have a lot of gold. But silver is in our Constitution as money. So is gold, kind of. So, yeah, that's where we're headed. And the beauty of that is we don't have to turn to anybody for agreement. Or, hey, Mr. Banker, Janet Yellen, can you fix the system? No. We don't have to turn to the BIS or the World Bank or XRP or anybody. There's no deciders necessary because we already have it on the books. Gold and silver is money in the Constitution, constitutional money. It's not as easy to understand. But then we start over. And that's the beauty. We get to start fresh. There'll be no debt, which is most people will be very happy about. Well, Bix, who owns my apartment? And things I'm not saying it's not going to be crazy. What I'm saying is it has to be done. So I probably squatter rights. If you have guns and can squat in your spot. But I do think we'll probably start up again faster than most people would expect because we've had 100 years to try to figure out what to do. With the invention of cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology, I think it will help a lot. And I do see the U.S. government coming to Reggie Middleton and saying, okay, we're sorry for the way we treated you. We are going to unfreeze your 98 million Veritasium tokens and allow you to do what you were going to do before, help exchanges implement peer-to-peer transactions. So there's no middlemen, no brokers, no exchange. Exchanges might not even be necessary. Maybe, but there'll be no middleman. And that's what Reggie has the patent on. And then the value of Veritasium goes higher than the value of Bitcoin. Is it a long shot? Oh, absolutely. If you ask the stuff I just laid out, if you ask anybody on Wall Street, they'll be saying, you're a conspiracy theorist. In my years, I have found that more conspiracies were true than not true, and it's just different versions of how far you can take a conspiracy. I loved when the Democrats wanted to impeach Trump for saying they're tapping my phones when it turns out they were tapping his phones. Stuff like that. That's a conspiracy theory. Well, my friends, welcome to conspiracy world right now, and everything's coming out. This USAID, that was the payoff mechanism for government to pay off friends and family and keep their system going. That is falling apart now, and your tax money went to that. There will be a massive tax revolt, and nobody's going to pay their taxes in April. It's going to be so obvious that they have been abusing the entire system. Trump has already said he wants to do a VAT tax, a value-added tax type of thing, where you don't pay any income tax or very much tax at all unless you go out and buy stuff. If you buy stuff, that's where they get their tax money to run a very limited government, and you won't need a lot. California, the highest tax state in the planet, everybody's ready to revolt against Gavin Newsom and Apparently, he just got the California State Senate jackasses to approve $50 million for an anti-Trump kitty. So my taxes is going to fight against Trump. What? Yeah, tax revolt time. I know a lot of people will be happy with that. We're at that point. Everything's about to change. And you just gotta pray that you're ready for it. Nobody will be fully ready for it. How are you gonna stop against the sonic weapons that they have, or the direct energy weapons that just took out LA with the fires and everything's turned to the white dust? It's not how fires work. The melted metals that run out of cars, you don't see that. That's a direct energy weapon. And then they lock up the area like they did in Lahaina in Hawaii. Still can't go back and rebuild your house years later. And oh, by the way, LA tried to do that too, and Trump said, no, let them in now. I love it. Anyway, you were on the road to roota. You've been listening to Bix Weir, rant and rave. Got Jenny Moonstone tomorrow. We'll be talking silver, obviously, in the fight for our freedom and where we are there. I do want to, I'm working on a project right now. It has to do with the Theta family of tokens. I'm finding out things that are absolutely shocking, even to me, I'm so bullish on what Theta has done and what it's turned out to be. Remember, Theta went up to, $15 in the last bull run. That's nothing. And now it's back down to $1.50. And, I was looking at Theta T-Fuel. And right here, it's trading at 5 cents. I remember buying Theta at 5 cents. And if I think back then, I'm like, I should have bought a lot more at 5 cents. That's where we are with T-Fuel. Similar in many ways, but much, much, much better upside for T-Fuel than was in 2020 or whenever the last bull run. Let's take a look where it was when it peaked right here, 2021. Theta has changed. It's completely different than it was. It was just for video content delivery networks. It was a good idea to go, bypass all the big guys and go right to the customer type of thing, sharing your computer. And all of a sudden, holy shit, if you get to share your broadband, you can share your hard drive. You can share for, cloud storage. You can share your computer processor for AI. That's where we are with T-Fuel. So I do expect T-Fuel. I expect Theta to 10x more. So probably much more than $15, like $30, which is a 20x from where it is now. But I expect T-Fuel to 10x more than the 20x, 200x, 200 times. Why? Because Theta is Theta Fuel. Theta Fuel is the money of the Theta network. It is required for all the things to people to get paid, people to purchase cloud space, cloud storage space, to purchase AI type model. It is all down to T-Fuel, which is kind of different than what most people think. Oh, I have some Theta. Should you swap Theta for T-Fuel at 30-1? Well, I would ask you this question. Should you swap gold for silver at 80-1? So, yeah. Keep an eye on T-Fuel. The unsung hero of the Theta network. And Theta's going to be a monster. Anyway, you put even T-drop. But I like to buy undervalued assets. And I like to buy a lot of them when they're undervalued and no one's talking about it, or like all the cryptos are in the shitter right now. This is the time when people make fortunes. And Theta's going to do great. T-Fuel is going to rule the roost at its current position of, you get 30 T-Fuel for one Theta. So, yep, there you go. That's part of, and I have even bigger reasons And I'm working on a report right now about that. So keep an eye on T-Fuel, my friends. Keep an eye on T-Fuel. Anyway, as a matter of fact, we're giving away all 3 Theta tokens with a private road subscription right now, loaded on a paper wallet. You don't have to know about cryptos. And don't be a crypto hater, because obviously it's going to be here for a very long time. And if you've been fighting against cryptos, like some people just can't get over the fact that they were wrong in 2008, 2009 when cryptos started coming out. They just can't get over the fact, and they never will be able to get over it. The whole world is waking up, and you're looking kind of foolish now if you're not involved in cryptos. And a lot of people say, I can't buy Bitcoin at, it's $100,000. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. You can buy a little piece of Bitcoin. But, you're going to say the same thing. Imagine 2 years from now, and when Bitcoin hits $1 million or $10 million or $100 million. How can it do that? It's very simple. It's limited. It's digital scarcity is a real thing. And you need to understand that. And you can profit from it, or you can just survive from it. I'm not saying it's not going to drop 95%. And it does. Cryptos will buck and shake and try to kick you off. And it's all due to manipulation they have to control it until the very end. And I think that's where we are. Anyway, we're giving away a paper wallet with 5 Theta, 50 T-Fuel, and 500 T-Drop. With every private road subscription, you get all the back end of the secret stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube. Go check it out. roadtoroota.com. I'll talk to you guys later.